Good morning. Welcome to Education Matters, the official voice of youth. I'm Rick Dunn. We're going to do something a little different today. Today I'm going to interview the youth of the program about something that's rather astonishing. Education Matters is sponsored by Drug-Free Athens and your local internet station, Radio-Athens. Joining me in the studio are
Thomas Smith.
And Kareem Lumpkin.
Just recently, the State Department of Education said that 84.4% of seniors graduated from high school last spring. That is an increase for the state over the previous year of about 0.3%, and they say it is a record statewide. Since the school system had been calculating the four-year graduation rate in our public high schools. By four-year graduation rate, that means that students who graduate within 4 years of entering the 9th grade are, quote, legitimate graduates of the school system. You can stay in the school system 5 years, 6 years, but technically if you don't graduate within 4, you are considered a dropout even though you're still in the building. Now, while the state has a lot to shout about, Clarke County doesn't. The graduation rate for Clarke County has been tumbling for the last 2 years to the point that Clarke County, along with Randolph County, have the lowest graduation rates in the state. 75.4% of our seniors in the class of 2023 graduated within 4 years of entering the 9th grade. So today I wanted to talk to the students of this program, and we're going to chop this whole discussion up. We're going to talk about it with the students today of this program, but in the future we want to talk to some other students, especially those who didn't make it within 4 years. And then we want to talk to some adults, some officials who work for the school system to try to get their spin on it. But we're going to start with Thomas, who is a junior this year.
Yes, sir.
And when I told him about this sad news, 'cause I don't know any way to put it other than sad, he looked at me in disbelief. So Thomas, tell me how you feel about knowing that the school system that you go to has the lowest graduation rate in the state.
I mean, me personally, I had no idea that this was the circumstance. And when you told me, it was unbelievable because I didn't think that would be possible. And I know a lot of seniors that have graduated from Clark Central and Cedar, and I just didn't know anything about this. And I was in disbelief because I just thought that Clarke County, given that everything that we offer here to the youth, like different organizations working with the youth and things of that nature, I just didn't think that would be possible for a county that's working towards helping the youth graduate and the graduation levels trending more upwards. I didn't know that was possible for this.
Trending more downwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is stunning to hear these numbers, and I kind of take it personally because I retired from the school district and my job was to help children graduate. And so when I retired, the graduation rate was like 83%.
Yeah.
Still not the best in the state, but it wasn't 75. And we did a lot of work because when I first went into the job, the Clarke County graduation rate was 63%. So we got it up to 83%.
Yeah.
And to see now 2 years in a row that it's going in the opposite direction is really mind-boggling to me, disappointing to me, because I know there's some good people trying to work at getting the graduation rate up, but to see these numbers, it just breaks my heart. Now, Kareem, you're 100 years away from graduating from high school, but pull that mic down so closer to your mouth there, buddy. But how does it make you feel? Now, you're a sixth grader, so you got 6 years to go before you can cross that finish line. But how does it make you feel knowing that the people ahead of you are struggling to graduate from high school?
It kind of makes me worried because these people are graduating and are not even graduating high school, so I'm wondering what are they going to do. It makes me worried about the future because us and people in my generation are like, after our parents retire and stuff, are going to be basically running the world by a sense. So I'm kind of worried because I don't know how this is going to be like with a lot of people that are not graduating high school or that are not like getting their diplomas. And it kind of is sad because like there's people that actually tried to get their diplomas and stuff, but then there's just so much bad influence. I think there's so much bad influence right now during these times because there's a lot of students engaging in gang violence and drugs. So it just makes me worried about the future.
And it makes you worried. What do you think it does for people my age who are depending on the next generations to assume the leadership? And it's like, man, we can't get y'all out of the school system. How y'all gonna handle everything else that needs to be handled in the future? Kareem mentioned that he thinks that it's associated with gangs and other social problems. What would you think, Thomas, is behind the graduation rate, especially in Clarke County, being so low?
I mean, I personally think that, of course gangs do have a lot to do with that and, violence within schools. But I also think it can go back home as well, and whether or not a student has a support base while they're at home, and people to just support them and push them in the direction of continuing and going on to graduate high school.
So parental support or family support to graduate, and but still that's a problem outside of the school building. How do we get families to be more supportive of their children's education? I want you guys' opinion. Kareem, go ahead.
I was thinking that maybe parents should like if they see that their child is interested in something that might help them in school and stuff, I think parents should encourage that, and then also like help their children learn about different topics like that are going on in school. Make them research on it, and also just encourage them to try their best, because a lot of times there's a lot of parents in the world that don't really encourage their students to get up and try or do anything. So I think that like how people encourage their children to play sport, I think they should do the same thing with education, because education is it is important in our society and life, because education can help people in numerous ways. So I think parents especially should like just help out and like educate and encourage their students to try their best in school.
Okay, now, Thomas, what do you think? Is parental encouragement sufficient?
Yeah. I just think that parents and their children just need to sit down together and talk amongst each other about how they feel about graduating and whatnot, because parents and their children don't really get to sit down and talk to each other and actually listen to what's going on, how the other one feels about this, But I just think parents and their children need to talk more, especially about, education and what they want to accomplish out of, you know, graduating and getting an education.
You say parents and children don't get the chance to talk more as much. What's stopping them from communicating?
I think, and I don't know, but it could be like the parents' children don't feel so much comfortability with talking to their parents with the subject of that matter. It just makes them uncomfortable, really.
What's uncomfortable about talking about the importance of being educated?
Can I answer this?
Yeah, but jump in.
I feel like students are scared because there are students that have bad grades, and then they wonder that sometimes they have bad grades, but they don't want to address it to their parents or want to talk about it because they're scared that their parents are gonna like yell at them or get mad at them for having bad grades. And I think that in their conscience they think, well, my parents might get on to me for this, so I just don't want to tell them, and I'll just hide them from this. But that is not the thing that you should do. I feel like you should like have, even if you're failing or doing something bad in some class, I feel like you should talk to your parents about it and let them know, and then they might be able to help you with that.
Okay, we're going to pause quickly for a commercial break. We'll be back as we continue our discussion on the dilemma that we have in our community, the lack of a successful graduation for the students in Clarke County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Education Matters, sponsored by Drug Free Athens and your local internet station, Radio-Athens. I'm Rick Dunn. We're reversing roles today as I'm grilling the youngsters on this dilemma in our community. And nobody acts like it is, but it is. We have the lowest high school graduation rate in the state, tied with Randolph County. The Clarke County graduation rate is 75.4%. The state graduation rate is nearly 10 points higher at 84.4%. So and that's saying the state rate is going up. But before we get into our discussion, here's Kareem with words to grow on.
Keep knocking and the drawer inside will eventually open up a window and look out to see who is there by Rumi. That is your words to grow on.
All right, thank you, Kareem. During the last break where you guys was talking about, well, Kareem had brought up how sometimes the students don't want to talk to their parents because of bad grades and they're afraid that parents are going to, I guess, freak out on them and you know, just going to cause this great argument. But parents ought to know they got access to the parent portal. Doesn't the parent portal still exist? I don't have kids in school anymore, so I'm going to presume that the parent portal still exists, that parents have access to their children's grades. So why would that even be a problem?
Because some parents might not, like at opening day, they have, when I was going to opening day for 6th grade, they had like a parent portal thing to sign. And I think that maybe some people haven't even signed up, or either they probably skimmed over it and just like left, like met the teachers and just left and didn't really do anything else. But I get the question you were asking, like parents the parents will already know that you have bad grades.
They ought to know, and I'm thinking, I mean, if they use the parent portal, and I presume when report cards come out, parents still get to?
Yeah, if you do if the teacher updates the grades and stuff, and so it's like my mom says that it gives her a notification, it gives her a notification and like dings her phone, so they should get a notification about that. But then there's also parents that are super busy and don't even read the notifications, and then when they actually go to the the parent portal and see their child's grade, they wonder why. Because sometimes it's sometimes that could be the reason, because parents are super busy and they never spend time, like, ask their child how they're doing in school and ask them about grades and ask them what's school like, and just regular stuff like about school.
So parents are not, you hear schools all the time talking about we want parents to be involved, coming to the school, be engaged at the school. But based off what I'm hearing you saying, there are some parents who are not even engaged with their child's education at home. They don't have to come to school. They can start right there in their own household. Okay. So this whole thing about bad grades, I want to stick on that for a minute. So how would you all, if you were parents, have a discussion with your child about their grades not being so good? You know, maybe you can teach us something. How would you handle that, Thomas?
I just think it's as simple as, you know, just asking what, like, trying to get to what the root cause of why your grades aren't where they need to be. And asking your child that and say what they say. I don't know, it's kind of a difficult question to answer, but just seeing where your child's head is at and why they might be having the grades where they don't need to be at.
I feel like I would sit down with my child, and ask them, is there a reason, why are your grades so low? And then they'll answer my question, and then I'll try to figure out what's the root cause of this, because most of the time it's always something like a child might like art, or might like band, might have a good grade in like art or like a fine arts class or something like that, but then all their other classes like math, reading, science, social studies, their grades are low. And I will figure out, is because they're spending too much time in that one subject, or do they need more, or is there anything that they're struggling in, or do they need more practice with the thing that they're learning in class? So that's what I would do.
Some more practice in the classes that they're not doing well in.
Yeah.
You're passing art, hooray! But you're not passing English, you're not passing math, you're not passing the classes that you really, really need.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the issue? And okay.
And how can we fix that?
How can we fix that? All right. So a couple of months ago, or a couple of weeks ago, you guys were talking, and you were talking about high school students and how you wanted them to have more, or recognize that, you know, they need to take more responsibility and prepare themselves to be adult-like, and basically, you know, you're basically saying that the high school students need to be put in the position to be more responsible, if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. So, if we have so many students, a quarter of our seniors don't graduate on time, what needs to happen to help teenagers become more responsible? Let Thomas answer this one, since he's in that age range. You got 100 years to go before you get there.
I just think there needs to be more of a support base for those who aren't up to par with the other students in their class. And if that was to happen and they had a support base and they were getting help and all of these external factors, then that would be amazing for them, and they could then graduate. I think it's just, they just need support, and they need to be guided into the right direction, because some of students are not, everyone's not the same. Not everyone is going to learn the same way everyone else is, and they learn at their own pace, and that's just that. You can't really change the way someone is or how they learn, whatever the case may be.
Okay. So more support. Now, who should provide this support? Other than family. You already said parents, so we don't put them on the list. Who else should be on this list?
Again, teachers should have a relationship with their students as well. I mean, because they're the ones who are grading your child, who are teaching your child every day. So, like having just a relationship with your teacher is a great way to start off.
Okay. As a high school senior, as you go to class and you observe your classmates in the hallways going to class, you observe them in the classroom, you observe them in the cafeteria, at different after-school activities and everything. How easy is it for you to identify students who you think are off track to graduate on time as a student?
I mean, you could definitely tell just by looking at someone. You can definitely tell, but then others, you may think that they are on track to graduating, but then they don't end up graduating for whatever reason. I mean, yeah, because the ones who aren't on track to graduate and they're off, like they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're outside of class, they're skipping, going to the bathroom over and over again throughout the day in their classes, being tardy all of the time, like going to ISS, that type of thing. Those are the students that I look at and see that they're not, and I think that they're not on track to graduate.
Okay. So you see them.
Mm-hmm.
These some may be friends, some may not, but they're your peers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they are creating a situation that you said earlier that is shocking to you, disappointing to you. What role should teenagers play in helping their peers who they see are falling off track to graduate, get them back on track and help them get across the finish line? Does everything have to be on the adults? You know, you guys tend to listen to each other more than you listen to us. At least when I was a teenager, that's what it was. I listened to my friends more than I listened to my mother. Of course, I paid the price when I listened to my mother, but it's another story. I mean, but as teenagers, we tend to listen to our peer group.
Mm-hmm.
So what type of intervention can teenagers offer their peers?
I think it's just as easy as your friend being blunt with you, whoever, and just saying that you need to do this, you need to chill and back up and say, what am I doing? What steps can I take toward being better and being able to graduate with my class or whatever the case may be? Like, you just need to talk and have a discussion with, and being blunt with your friend and your peers that you see and you know, and just help them out.
Mm-hmm. Does that occur? Do you see that happening? Do you see your peers challenging the ones who are like, bro, you need to go class. I don't know why you out here. Do y'all challenge each other that way, or is it like, I see it, but I ain't gonna say nothing because of a whole bunch of drama and might be a fight, he might. So
I've seen it a couple times, but it's not really. It's not like multiple times, like a week. Like you don't see that happening. Like it may be like once or twice a week. Like it's not consistent. It's not. Yeah, it's just not a consistent support.
Okay. We're talking about the low high school graduation rates here in the Clarke County School District on Education Matters. I wish we were back in the old days where people could call in with with their comments or their questions, but let me just help the community get a stronger grasp of how disappointing the numbers for Clarke County are. Again, Clarke County and Randolph County have the lowest graduation rates for 2023 of 75.4% of the seniors who graduated in these schools who graduated within 4 years of entering the 9th grade. Now, when you look at our neighboring counties, the counties that people come in to Athens, they play football against our children, they buy groceries in our community, go to doctors here. Again, 75.4% is Clarke County. The lowest or the closest to Clarke County is Barrow County. Barrow County graduation rate is 90.1%.
Wow.
So big.
That's a big gap, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the closest, I mean, that 90.1% versus 74. After Barrow County comes Winder. Winder Barrow is 91.9%. So Barrow County as a whole has a graduation rate of 91.5%. Okay, let me back up for a minute because while I'm throwing these numbers out, the graduation rate at Clarke Central was 80.1%. The graduation rate at Cedar Shows was 69.5%.
Ooh.
That's during the numbers of
COVID or?
forget COVID, and we're gonna talk about that too. But 69.5, that's, like I said, when I started working for the school district in 2009, the graduation rate was 63%. So you're talking about numbers that are over a decade ago. That's disappointing. All right, let me keep on pushing the numbers. Oh no, let me take a commercial break and then I'll come back and push some more numbers. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Education Matters, the official voice of youth, sponsored by Drug Free Athens and Radio-Athens.com. Check us out at Radio-Radio.com. Again, we're talking about the graduation rate here in Clarke County, talking to
Thomas Smith.
And Kareem Lumpkin.
what's going on again?
And Kareem Lumpkin.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Left off, it was saying that Clarke Central High School had a graduation rate of 80.1%. Cedar Shows was 69.5%. And then when you look at the schools in our that border us, Barrow County High School had a 90.1% graduation rate. That's the closest to what's going on in Clarke County in this region. Let's see. Okay, Jackson County High School had a graduation rate of 93.7%. East Jackson High School had a graduation rate of 96.3%, which put the county graduation rate at 94.7%. Of course, you know that Jefferson, which is in Jackson County, but has its own school system. Jefferson's high school, 96.3% of their seniors graduated on time. Okay. Now, Madison County, 92.7% of their seniors graduated on time. Let's go over here to Oconee, okay? Everybody wants to talk about Oconee. Okay, Oconee County High School had a graduation rate of 94.7%. The people over there probably cutting their wrists because they would think that's low, 94.7%. Especially when you consider that at North Oconee High School, check this out, 98.6% of the seniors at North Oconee High School graduated in 4 years.
Oh,
Wow.
That's during the 100%. And here we talking 74%. in Clarke County.
Embarrassing.
Yes, it's embarrassing. That's why we're having this conversation.
I feel like people that are my age and that are younger, I feel like we are probably gonna push that thing up because there's a lot of people in high school now and a lot of people that is going to high school within this next year. So I feel like that maybe people around my age group, around my age range, maybe could probably like boost this up. But that's just my idea. But I don't know if it's actually gonna work or not.
And Kareem, I hope your age group does get those numbers up. I hope you get them up to the North County numbers. But Kareem, you don't graduate for another 6 years. I'm worried about Thomas's class, which graduates in 2025. Or 2025. You know, are we going to continue this downward spiral? What's the class of 2024 looking like? What's the class of 25 looking like? And you can start looking at those numbers. You can start looking now, Thomas, if your memory will allow you to think back when you were in the 9th grade. And if you really look around your class, you're going to see some people, or you're not going to see some people who started with you.
Yeah.
You know, some of them may have transferred out. But those who dropped out are going to hurt your graduation rate.
Yeah.
But when I tell you that here's a school district with almost 100% graduation, and I know there's money out there, the affluence and all the other stuff that they say that give them an advantage.
Clarke County have Athens Christian.
Yeah, but
No.
we're only talking public schools. We're not throwing into private schools. We're just talking public schools.
Oh.
Okay. The state doesn't keep the data on whatever. Sure, they collect the data, but the state can only talk about what the state funds, and the state funds public schools. So we're not even going to compare ourselves to what the private schools are doing, because they don't get the public school money and they don't have the same requirements that we do.
I wonder if they have higher or lower.
That's a good question. I would think if you're paying several $1,000s a year for your child to go to a private school, then it should be higher. In fact, it should be 100% if you're paying that type of money. You know, which is why people send their children to a private school, because the educational opportunities are better. And the chances of graduating, not only graduate on time, but graduate truly prepared to go to college, is better because you're paying for it. And the classrooms are smaller and you have fewer distractions and all that other stuff that goes along with being at a private school versus a public school. But that's a good question, Kareem. What's the comparison? But we're going to compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. All right? All right. One of you guys mentioned earlier, because this is what the school systems always like to say. They said that they think that part of the reason that graduation numbers are like they are, of course Clarke County hasn't said this officially yet, but they have said it on the state level, is because of COVID, that we're still trying to rebound from COVID. COVID, that was really 2 years ago when everything was shut down, which means that the ones who graduated last year basically they were out of school 1 year. They were out of school, that COVID year when everything was shut down.
I feel like that's probably the reason, because a lot of students during COVID, like a lot of high school students, like when they were seniors and just ready about to get graduated, like in March, they were just about graduation was a couple months ahead of them, and all of a sudden, like when they got to that point in June or May of 2020, nobody was there to celebrate them, and they also couldn't go up there and receive their diploma. But then there was also kids in high school that since when we were at home, we were at home, there was a lot of students that just fell asleep or wasn't really doing anything in those classes because, you know, we were at home, so you really couldn't say or do anything because we're in our homes. So I feel like that probably affected them because a lot of people might have missed stuff that they were supposed to learn, and then when they came back to school in 2021, they were
They were behind. They couldn't pull it off. Yeah, I could see that, but we're talking 2023. We're not talking to class of 2021. I get a class of 2021 all types of COVID breaks that you want them to have, but we're talking 2 years post-COVID. And yes, I understand and respect and appreciate the fact that anybody that was in school during the COVID year probably lost out on getting the full education that we hope they get in the school system. I get that. But well, that's why I got that thing up on the wall talking about excuses are tools used by the incompetent to build monuments of nothingness. Those who specialize in them seldom amount to anything. Therefore, there are no excuses. There is no, I'm serious now. There is no excuse for our graduation rates to be so low. There may be some issues around it, but we can't do this because of this, we can't do this because of that. That's a poor way of thinking. And it does not benefit the children of our community. One thing that we've tried to do here with you youngsters here, okay, the show might not happen the way we want the show to happen, but the show is going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's about making progress. It's about being determined to produce something. Kareem, leave that alone. Thank you, sir. And there you go. Put that phone over there. There you go, son. You ought to be a mechanic because you sure like to mess with stuff. But anyway, there's, you know, before COVID, the excuse was poverty.
Yeah.
Now, the best thing about COVID is people stop crying about how our children are so poor. Now it's just COVID.
They go from another excuse.
They go from one excuse to the next excuse.
Just because COVID happened and it was a horrible disease doesn't mean you get to blame everything that's happening bad on COVID.
Thank you. Thank you. Out of the mouth of babes.
You can blame it on people dying, but you can't really blame it on anything else.
No, you can blame it on people not trying their best,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not an excuse.
Nope.
You can blame it on people not realizing what it takes to graduate. Do you know what it takes to graduate, Thomas, since you're close to it? Do you know what it takes to actually graduate from high school in the state of Georgia?
I mean, you just gotta stay focused and make sure that you do what you're supposed to be doing, and you know when you're doing something wrong.
Not on that level.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm talking about, do you know how many credits you need to graduate from high school?
24.
24 credits. Okay, at least you know that. And 24 credits in anything, or 24 credits, what do they need to look like? Can you graduate from high school with 24 PE credits?
Oh no.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay, so you have to have what?
4 lit courses,
Mm-hmm.
4 sciences,
Mm-hmm.
4 social studies,
Mm-hmm.
and then 1 PE credit.
Yeah.
You need that.
And 4 maths.
4 maths.
Okay, so those core classes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can, everything else is an elective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but we got kids, or I presume we still have kids, who will enter the 9th grade, who after the end of their 9th grade year, will have maybe 2 credits. By the time they're in the 9th they're still a 9th grader. They might think they're in the 10th grade. We got kids who think that is, for every year I'm in high school, just like in middle school, I'm passing along. If you don't get those credits,
You might never.
you don't graduate. You don't progress without getting sufficient credits. And you guys are on the block schedule now, which makes it very easy to get 8 credits a year.
Yeah.
You don't need but 24. You could graduate high school in 3 years. Technically, you could graduate in 3 years. If you do what you're supposed to do. Yes, sir.
And maybe possibly even, I don't want to say 2, but you probably could graduate in 2 years.
You're not going to graduate high school here in 2 years. Because we don't set up summer school to allow you to get those extra credits. Summer school here means that you taking something that you
Does
failed.
high school credits mean like let's say your middle school, in 8th grade, your middle school allows you like whenever you have
You can
class.
if you take a high school class in middle school, that counts as one of your high school credits. Yes, because there's a lot of kids who take high school Spanish or math in middle school, and if they pass that class, yes, it counts as one of their credits. Got to pause quickly for some commercials. That's a good conversation. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Education Matters, the official voice of the youth. You got an old person running the show today as we talk to the youth about what I am terming a crisis in our community. Clarke County School System has the lowest graduation rate in the state for the class of 2023. We are tied with Randolph County with a graduation rate of 75.4%. In contrast, North Oconee High School has a graduation rate of 98.6%. Coney County as a whole has a graduation of 96.8%. And I know I said we're going to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges, and some people will say that's not a fair comparison because of the additional resources that families in Oconee County may be able to provide for their children. But we can no longer allow COVID, and we can no longer allow poverty to be deterrents to our children getting high school diplomas. It's just time out for making excuses, and we as a community need to come up with some plan, some way of turning this trend around. Our numbers have gone down 2 consecutive years. That cannot continue for the children of Clarke County. Just can't. It can't do that. Why are we taking steps backward when it comes to education and the well-being of our children? And as Thomas pointed out at the very beginning of the show, there are so many resources in town that help our children. We ought to be, if not in the 90s, we ought to going to be kicking on the door of the 90% graduation rate when you look at all the resources that are here. Thomas, how do you feel? Do you feel that there's enough knowledge in the community about what's here to help?
I definitely think there's enough knowledge because when you look at the University of Georgia, their graduation rate is at 86.4%. And that the university is what we focus on the most here in Athens. And you would think that, okay, the high school's graduation rate would be similar to or not better than the universities, given how profound the university is. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
You mentioned the university, and I think that's what makes the graduation rates in Clarke County even more embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because Clarke County, I feel like Clarke County spends mostly half of their money on our school district, and like the bigger portion they spend on UGA. And UGA, because if you see, UGA is a big thing for Athens. Without UGA, we would just be a small regular town in Georgia. if I'm being honest. We would just be a nowhere town that nobody really knew. But because we have the University of Georgia here, there's a lot of people coming here and coming here to go to school here. So Athens, the Clarke County district, they want to better the UGA because they know it's a big college and they want people to come here to live. So Athens can get kind of like more money from the UGA.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna cut you off, Kareem, because
It's like a tourist,
it's a tourist thing. It ain't when people come here for a lot of reasons, but the Clarke County School District is not putting any money in the UGA. Not to the point that is, doing anything to fund the University of Georgia's operation, but the fact that the state's flagship university, the place where governors have gone to, senators, all types of people of prominence in our state have come to Athens, Georgia, got a magnificent college education, but yet the children who live in this county have the lowest graduation rate in the state. It isn't. That itself is an embarrassment. That makes the issue even more painful to me. And yeah, we run around here talking about the national champion Bulldogs, two-time national champions. So let me cut them short. Two-time national champion Bulldogs. And our graduation rate for our high school students is almost in the toilet. That makes it even more painful to me. What about you?
I mean, there should be no reason why we are in this situation, why we should be having to talk about this whatsoever. I mean, we have a university with millions of dollars who spend probably billions into their facilities and their education. There should be no reason why high schools here don't have a graduation rate above an 80 or 85%.
I would agree. Yes.
I would like to add on what Thomas said. Our generation should not have a low graduation grade. It really should be high because a lot of people really high school degree. Most people might not think it's important, but it actually is because with the high school degree, you can go to college, and you can also get a job with it. And it also it might not be the best job, but you can there's a little more opportunity than just dropping out of high school in 10th or 11th grade. Because most of the time, a lot of dropouts, they like to come back to school and say they used to run the place or something like that. And it's really embarrassing. And most of the time, they be saying that they're doing great things now, but it's only like a certain few people who are doing great things that dropped out of high school. Most of the time, it's just people still working at like the same place they were working at when they were in like high school, like still working at McDonald's or Burger King.
Yeah, and that's a good job to have. There's honor in all work, and I'd rather people be working at an honest place than, getting an honest paycheck and making a contribution to society. So I'm not gonna put anybody down for where they work, but our lives. Well, we've said it a zillion times on this program. The more you learn, the more you earn. And the opportunity to learn and start earning really truly begins the day you walk across that stage with that high school diploma. And so we got too many students who are delaying their ability to earn a living and provide for themselves and their families. All types of social consequences of not having a good high school graduation rate. Crime, is the first one, poverty. We're already one of the poorest counties in the nation. So, yes, for real.
I thought we have We literally have, I thought the UGA would actually like help us on that. I didn't know that.
The UGA makes it worse, but anyway, that's a whole nother community education matters show. So, you know, this issue has so many negative impacts on our community, and as a community, we just can't accept it. We cannot allow this to happen. We just can't. Thomas deserves better. Kareem deserves better. Every child in this community deserves better than what we are producing right now. And I'm not going to say it's on the parents to change it all, but the parents got a role. I'm not going to say the school district has to change it all, but the school district has a role. I'm not going to say that the nonprofit organizations can change it all, but they got a role. I'm not going to say the county government can change it all, but they got a role. And I'm not going to say the students by themselves can change it all, but they have the biggest role.
Yeah.
Because if you don't go get it for yourself, you ain't never going to get it. And with that, I'm going to ask Thomas the essential question. Since you're the high school student, why does education matter?
To me, education matters because you can go anywhere with education. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've been through, what the circumstances may be for you. As long as you have an education, you can go anywhere in life and succeed. That's what you want.
All right, that's going to do it for this show. We are going to continue this conversation. We'll let y'all know when. Thank you.